So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. Welcome to today's webinar on Media Maestro, Video Player SDK for Seamless Integration. My name is Shivashish, and I'll be your host for this insightful session today, dedicated to the discussion of Video Player SDKs and how it can solve all your video needs. So, first of all, I would like to give you a quick overview of Muvi. Established in 2011 and headquartered in the United States. Can we go to the next slide, please? So, established in 2011 and headquartered in the United States, Muvi was founded with a vision to disrupt the global streaming market. Muvi offers a diverse range of streaming products that cater to businesses of all shapes and sizes. So, whether you are a small business or a large enterprise, our scalable and flexible product portfolio can adapt to meet any streaming requirement. From comprehensive OTT platforms to fast channels, from on demand streaming to live streaming, from audio streaming to video streaming, and from deploying websites and apps to mobile and TV ecosystems across 16 plus platforms, Movie has a solution for all your needs that can be accomplished with just a few clicks without the need of any coding language. Our flagship product, Movie One, has been rated as the number one OTT platform on G2, a trusted software review platform. And additionally, our live streaming product, Movie Live, was also honored as the best live streaming product of 2022 by the readers of the Streaming Media magazine. So, whether you are a content creator, a media company, or a business venturing into the streaming space, our goal is to empower you with the tools and expertise needed to thrive in this competitive industry. If you are interested in learning more about Movie and how our streaming product solutions can benefit your business, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. So now coming back to the topic, video today is one of the most important tool for communication, not just for entertainment. The application of video includes product videos used in e-commerce, classes which are both live and on demand, that is e-learning, the uses of video in marketing, and the list can go on and on and on. When video is so important in business, having the right technology to deliver video to your audience becomes a necessity. There can be endless applications on devices such as phones, laptops, tablets, and television sets. And if there is one product that can help you integrate video to all these ecosystems, it is Movies Player SDK, a perfect solution for developers to integrate video for all their applications. And to talk about this in detail, I would like to invite Bibu Prasad Jena, who is the director of the mobile and TV applications team. He is responsible for building immersive applications and improving their performance. He primarily works towards defining the application architecture for both mobile and TV ecosystems. Welcome to the webinar, Bibu. And now I hand over the mic to you. And before we get started, let me tell the audience that Bibu will be taking all the questions towards the end of this presentation, and you can keep posting your questions whenever you have any in the comment section, and all of them will be answered towards the end of this webinar. Over to you, Bibu.
Hello everyone. Good evening and wish you a very happy new year. As the director of the mobile and DVFs team, I mostly works towards the defining the application architecture as well as it's basically for the mobile and TVFs. And at the same time also I works towards the core performance issues improvements. Okay, and in the free time also I actually love to do coding for the new things. So thank you so much for the joining this webinar. The webinar will be on the Media Maestro. Basically, here we will discuss about the how can you integrate your applications with movie player SDK smoothly, so that at the end of the day you will have a smooth and seamless playback experience for your applications. So let's have a detailed discussions on it. So here is the complete list exactly what we're going to cover in this webinar. And Mostly, we're just going to talk about the player SDKs in detail, and also we'll talk about what are the features we're providing or it's already supported in movies player SDKs. Apart from that, we'll also cover the architectural insights, and we'll also cover the what other SDKs is movies providing. And at the end of the session, so definitely we'll have a end-to-end applications walkthrough. Then we'll have a Q&A session. So I know most of you already know that what is the SDK. Especially SDK stands for the software development kit. The player SDKs are designed for the seamless integrations into the website and applications, and mostly it ensures the smooth and consistent playback experience for the users. But for the today's call, we'll discuss only the mobile SDKs. So let's understand why you use the player SDKs and what is the magic behind of the SDKs. What is the necessity of the SDKs? Just imagine, you know, from a developer perspective, there are lots of things you need to consider during the player development time, and it's not an easy thing for a developer who is new to the development, or sometimes you have very tight deadline. So at that time, you need some kind of help which can help you the rapid development. So here, player SDK will come to the picture. It allows you to integrate the player with your real application or your original applications with few lines of code. And especially, you don't need to worry about the negative use cases that to be managed for the player integrations. Mostly the every possible scenario can be managed through the player SDKs. And you guys have already seen the most of the developers why choose the SDK. There are several reasons. Especially SDK helps in the efficiency of the applications, consistency, and the main important factor is drastically reduces the development time, which is one important factor. And it also helps to reduce the cost in terms of time. So this is the few main highlighted line items. That's the reason why you need the player SDK to be integrated, and this is especially needed when we're developing any OTT based applications or any kind of the applications which are using the video content inside it. These are the few advanced and interesting features we support through the movie player SDK, and I will go one by one. So let me highlight what are the features. Multiple audio tracks, multiple video resolutions, customizable subtitles, and obviously gesture operations, player controls, you can customize it, watermark, skip intro, digital rights management, and you can say it DRM. Also, obviously, we'll go one by one. Apart from this, we just highlighted few advanced and mostly used feature. Apart from that, obviously, the player SDK support the basic features. Okay, so let's talk about the feature in detail one by one. So if you talk about multiple audio tracks, then I can say this basically allows the user to switch different audio options available in a specific video, and mostly it is required for the better and enhanced user experience. So I guess you guys already know what is how we're switching one audio to different audio. If you guys have gone through any OTT applications or you have seen any movies right now in Netflix, Amazon Prime, anything, so there you can see the option is there. You can change the audio language. So nowadays, no, the multiple switching the multiple audio is quite important, to accommodate a large audience. Otherwise, you may be stayed with a limited audience as if you don't support the multiple audio options. If you talk about the multiple video resolutions, first you have to understand what is the video resolutions and what is the importance of the video resolutions. So a resolutions of the video tells you that the quality of the video, and it also determines how clear a particular video is. A higher resolutions video, obviously will have a clear and crisp images as there are more pixels. That means the higher number of pixels in a given frame will give a better picture quality. This is the basic fundamental things, the video resolutions. So let's have a better quality video. Obviously, you need one important thing, which is your internet connection. So let's say, if I can say, if you don't have good internet connection, obviously you are never gonna enjoy a high quality video in your streaming devices. So for that, obviously you must have a better internet connection, and at the same time you may gonna face multiple time video freezing issues if you have low internet bandwidth. So to avoid such kind of situations, the multiple video resolutions is very helpful. What exactly we do here? The mostly we select the particular specific video resolutions which is best fit for your internet connection, so that you may never face some hiccups during the streaming experience. It will obviously help you for a playback, enjoyable streaming experience with low internet bandwidth. Coming to subtitles, uh, so the most of the people are already aware of what is subtitles. Still, let me explain on my point of view what is actually subtitles. So, if you want to ask me, then I will say subtitles as a simply the textual representations, or you can say it's the mirroring of words spoken by a character in a video, or else you can say in a simpler way that it's a line of text at the bottom of the screen that translates the spoken dialects into another language. So this is pretty simple to understand what is the subtitle, and so we already know what is the use of the subtitle. Just like the multiple audio support, the subtitles is also necessary. Most of the times we never find multiple audio support for the every kind of the video. It's very difficult at that particular scenario. It's very difficult to understand the video content if you are not suitable with that particular language of that video. In that time, subtitles will come to play, and you know um, it takes a major role for interactive experience. I'll give you more details during the SDK integrations demo at the end of the section. Let's come to the gesture operations. So, this is nothing. It allows user to use the player functionality so easily, and it also reduce the user interactions also. I can give you some real time examples like if you have seen guys in most of the players in supporting, correct, the brightness control, volume control, and also you can drag your video positions from one point to another so that you can skip the specific time frame. So nowadays the gesture operations is very important. If you just want to say that your player is in a luxury player, mostly in the terms of luxury, that is mostly we use for in other word. But in case of player, if you say your player is in a luxury player, then definitely the gesture operation is the most important feature. Let's talk about the custom player console. Obviously, this will allows user to design or the implement the custom player as per your personalized playback experience. If I explain in simpler word, mostly you can say customize your player to match your existing applications UI, because SDK is the separate module, and mostly all the developers will use the SDK to their applications. So obviously the SDK and the application must have a match. Let's take an example. I'm developing or maybe you are developing applications which are having the blue theme, and your player SDK doesn't have the capability to change the color of the player component, correct? So then it feels like it's a separate module or a separate part of your applications when the player comes to play. But the movie player have the capability to remove the UI gap between the SDKs and the source applications. So let's talk about the watermark. Uh, Watermark is it's a visual overlay. Simply you can say it's a graphic or it's a typically placed on top of the video. Mostly watermarks are used to solve the various purposes. So if you ask me what are those purposes, then I'll say some most common used purposes, that is branding, copyright protections, and defining the ownership of a video content. Or else you can say watermarks are often semi-transparent and appear in the foreground of the video. It can include text, logos, images, and other graphical elements. So let's take an example. So exactly how watermarks actually are often used. If you talk about the branding, most companies often use their logos and brand names as the watermark. Especially, they use to promote their brand identity and increase the brand recognition. Similarly, most of the cases we use also date and timestamp. Uh, this is basically used for the surveillance footage. Mostly, if you have seen the surveillance footage, there is you can find the date and timestamp that specifically identifies when the video is get was recorded. So that's the main important factor for a surveillance footage, the date and timestamp. So here watermarks, plays a major role to identify the video recording time. Similarly, skip intro is one more, fancy feature, and also it's the most commonly used feature. This feature allows the end users, to skip the starting credits. Let's say you have already seen whenever a movie or any episodes is starting, so you guys can see some credits or some recap. So at that time, mostly we don't need to see the same things again. So in that case, the skip intro is the only feature which is come to the play. So what exactly we are doing in skip intro? So mostly we are providing the starting time and the ending time. The start time is that we mostly when I put the start time, the skip intro button will appear on the player, and when someone will click on the skip intro button, it will directly land to the particular position where the actually video starts. In our SDK, mostly we can pass both these informations as per your requirement. So based on your inputs, it will work on your player. Okay, so let's discuss about the DRM. I'll say a DRM is called digital rights management. So let me explain what is this feature and how our player supports DRM content. So it's a technique of securing digital contents to prevent the unauthorized access and piracy. And now most of the some renowned companies, industries, they use DRM to protect their premium content, and mostly when it's getting delivered by the public internet. Let me give you a few more technical insights on the DRM. Basically, DRM ensures that the video content is stored and transmitted in an encrypted form so that only authorized users and devices can play it. So when a user actually attempts to play the video player requests a key from the license server, and the server determines whether the device is actually authorized before issuing the license. Once the server issues the license, then the player decrypts that license and allow you for the content playback. So these are the a few high level feature whatever I gave the explanations on this. Okay. Okay. So I hope you guys can see my screen properly. So this is the architectural insight of the movie player SDKs. So we just prepared this SDKs on this way so that it could be understandable by everyone. The architecture of the player stick may be very complex. If you design in a separate way, it will be very complex. It might gonna issues for the everyone to understand actually how it works. That's why we made it a bit simpler, which will be understandable to everyone. So here you can see this mobile app means that is your applications where you just want to integrate with the movie player SDKs. So this is the movie player and the main crucial functionalities which is managed by this is the player view. Here we have highlighted three major things. One is event logger, second one is the media controller, and the last one is the event emitter. Let me explain what exactly actually all these classes actually doing their task. So if you talk about the event logger, the basically this class is responsible to authenticate the user actually whether who is using the SDKs is a valid user or is unauthenticated user. And similarly, there are few analytics things we are measuring when someone using other player SDK. So all these things are carried out by the event logger thing class. So if we talk about the media controller, this is the core part of the player SDK. So every player functionalities is managed by the media controller. Whenever starting from the initializing player to ending to the release player, everything is managed by the media controller. Here you can simply, if we can give you some examples, simply you can say that media controllers actually responsible to play the video, to pause the video, and to track the video, everything. All the functionality, whatever we are providing in the player SDKs, is managed by the media control. And the last and most important point, that is the class we call event emitter. Mostly, this class is responsible, to communicate in between the SDKs and your applications, because whatever the status or whatever the functionality is happening inside the SDKs, that should be communicated to the parent applications. If you don't communicate all these informations to the parent app, the mostly I guess there is no use of the player SDK. If I don't say when my video is ended, or if I don't say if I am having some issues, so all these things informations is carried out through the event emitter class. And at the end, so mostly your video will be played, and that is the presence video on screen. You may guys remember from the starting of the webinar, I just gave the highlights that Muvi offers other SDKs apart from mobile SDKs, I mean Android and iOS SDKs. So there are other SDKs also Muvi supports. So rather than Android and iOS, it supports Android TV Hub SDK, and also we support React Native SDK. Obviously, this is required for the cross-platform applications building. And there are two more things we basically support, which is very rare. I mean, TV Hub SDKs, that is for the LG and Samsung. Then the Samsung TV Hub SDK we developed on based on the Tizen SDK, and similarly for the LG we built it on the WebOS. And yes, of course, we obviously support the player SDK for the website. Obviously, you can use that player SDK if you are building any websites. And apart from that, there are few other SDKs which is here in roadmap, and they're in queue. Mostly we'll be releasing all these SDKs if possible in next quarter. So if I give you some high level and what are those who's are in queue. So Roku TV, this is in current market, uh, the demand of the Roku TV is very high, but the supply is very less. So mostly, so looking at the market demand, so we are just working on the Roku TV of SDK, so that you can build your Roku applications using Roku TV or Player SDK. Because and what I already worked in different OTT industries with different platforms, so I can say you know the usage of Roku and the market reward of the Roku is high, but the developer community is very low. So in that case, it's gonna help you, very high level, that if you are building any Roku application, you can use the Roku Player SDK, and at the same time, we're also building the Apple TV app SDK. Also, we are building the Flutter SDK. So right now, we do support only React Native for the hybrid applications, that you can say the cross-platform applications. But obviously, in coming time frame, we are releasing the Flutter SDK. So this is the high level explanations of the movie player SDKs I explained. So now the time is, let's have a complete integrations walkthrough. So how can you integrate your applications with movie SDKs? So before that, let me give you some idea about the from where you can download the movie SDKs. And for to download the movie SDK, what are the other informations you needed? So you guys can see, you know uh, this is the movie's parent website, and whenever you come to the movie.com, you guys can see these screens. uh, Here we have listed all of our products, what movie offers, correct? Movie one, movie live, flex, and also player SDK. Right now we're talking about the player SDK, but apart from that, movie already supports some drastic areas which is especially needed for OTT industry, as well as the any industry which is actually works with media content. So I'm not going to in detail. Let's discuss regarding the player SDKs. So from here, either you can or if you have already an account, you can log in over here, or else you can take a free trial over here. So when you click on the free trial, the basically it will ask you, some user information like your name, what's your company name, and phone number, email, and password like this. The one important thing that when you fill all these informations and proceed for the next, so it will send you, one OTP to identify you as a valid user. Suppose that entering the OTP, you will see the player product CMS. Here actually I'm not taking any free trial. I have already created my account, so directly I'm logging into my account. Okay, so this is the login screen. So I am entering to my account. So I just deleted, just forget about this. So when you first time enter into the player CMS, you guys can see a screen like this. So it's a it's a complete empty screen with as you haven't added any player to the player CMS. So basically on the right up top of the corner, you can find an options. This is saying that the art player option. So when you click on that art player answer, so basically it will ask you to provide a few basic informations related to your SDK, so that it will help you in future to identify what SDKs you have created. uh, Let me name this as movie Android SDK, and the description is the, let's say it's a demo uh, test SDK. And yes, here you can see there is a field called platform. Once we click on the platform, you guys gonna see the various platforms we have listed over here. As I explained just before, the movie already supports other than Android and iOS SDK, LG, Samsung, React Native, website, all these things I just what explained just before a minute. Everything is showing up. So when you select any of the platform, it will ask you few more informations that is required for the SDK authentications. So mostly when you use this player SDK inside our application, it will basically helps you to authenticate you as a valid user. So let me choose the Android. Once I click on Android, you guys can see it asking for the few more information, that is it asking for the which version do you want to download. So right now is showing the version 1, and in future obviously we're just keeping this on version 1, version 2, version 3. So obviously which version is applicable for you that you can download. So I'm selecting the version 1. And similarly, this package name is, as I told, the package name is important factor. Mostly how package name is actually important. So let's say ki, you developed an applications and you need the player SDK. So basically, you just have to put the package name of your applications so that when you use our player SDK inside your applications, it will authenticate you. Yes, this is the same user who has created the player SDK. So that's why the package name is very important. So now I'm giving the package name com.movie.sdk. Yes, this is my package name. So let's click on the save. Okay, now you guys can see this is the SDK you just generated, and which you will gonna use in your applications. Let me give you few more details about the SDKs. So here you can see there are three options we're displaying. One is the license, and second one is for the download the SDK, and third one is the disable. Mostly disable options is you can use if you don't use this SDK, simply you can disable it. Just leave it for now. We'll discuss the most important factor, that is license and download. So if you click on the license, simply it will generate a license especially for you or for your applications, or of which package you have just given to create the SDK. So this license token is important. Plus here you can download. Correct. Once you download the SDK, simply this is the SDK we just downloaded. Once we click on that, you guys can find out the two things. One is your library files or an archive files, and second one is the documentations. So I'll go to the the archive files later. Let's talk about the documentations. So if I will open the documentation, you guys seen everything. What are the features we are supporting? How you can integrate this SDK to your applications? What on up to what Android version we do support? And what are the code snippet, especially to render the features which are already there in the player SDK. So everything is listed over here. So I guess you definitely, if you guys try it on your own end, definitely you don't have any issues, as everything is we have given in the document. So it's a very quite pretty and simple you know fast forward document where you just have to copy paste the code snippet and you can use it in your applications as it is. So I'm not going to the in the document in detail. So let's have other integrations demo. So so before coming to the webinar, I just created a dummy application. So to reduce the time frame of the webinar. Otherwise, maybe you guys maybe bored, as due to the the webinar timeline will be the lengthy. So that's why I just created one sample applications before coming to the meeting. So let me explain. So mostly what I have done. So first thing, users guys have to do one thing. You just have to copy that archive file to li folder of your Android project. I have already the same things, and at the same time you just need to connect that library file to your applications. And to do that, you just have to add one line of the code, correct? So in the build.gradle file, so that your library will be connected to your applications. So that's the first initial thing which is needed for the setup. And then let me show you how you can use the Movie SDK within your applications. So for that, what I have done, I just created one activity, and for that activity, I just created one XML file. So in that XML file, you guys can see this is the player component now, which we providing through the Movie Player SDK. Simply users inherit that class by adding the Movie Player SDK. Once you add it, either you can add it in a activity, or you can use in a fragment as per your requirement. You can put it. So once you done these things, so basically there is one more important thing you have to do. Just before a minute, I explained during the license token. So here I just pass the license token to the player SDK. Just remember one thing, this the main activity, this is the parent application, that is this applications, you can say this is your applications. So here I am passing few necessary things to the SDKs, so that your applications can use the Movie SDKs. So here is the one important factor that we call the license token. So you guys can see, we just have to pass the license token during with the Movie Player initializations method, and normally we just named it movie player.init. Once you pass that license token with the init method, then you are ready to go. If it is a valid license token, then obviously you are ready to go. And if it's a random or it's a invalid license token, obviously uh, the SDK will simply give you the error message that you are just not an valid user. So as I explained, then when you use the Movie Player SDK, it's very 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 easy to play a video. Just uh, you just need to write three lines of code, simply three lines of code to play a video. I have commented over here, and this is this is the video URL. And to play that video, you just simply have to create a video content, and that is the object of the default video content. And you just need to pass the video URL and your context. Mostly why we're passing this context, uh, so mostly this is actually needed for the SDK, to render the player on top of your application. So this is needed. Suppose that you just have to pass this video content to the player view, which I have done below. Here I have passed this player view. So let me run this. Okay, I hope you guys can see my mobile screen. Okay, so let me run. Okay, see, simply simply you just write two lines of the or three lines of code, and your the player is ready. Simply you can play, pause, drag, and drag this video, everything you can do it. And you guys can see how the the player loading time is so faster. I mean, within 1 second the player is getting loaded. So mostly we have managed the player SDK in such a way. Obviously, performance is the most important factor for us. If I say when you pass any video URL and it will take much time, then maybe it's not acceptable for the everyone. So that is the important factor. So here you guys can see, you can play, pause, and drag and drop the videos. So similarly, there is some other features we'll see next. Let me show you one more feature. Uh, let's talk about the watermark. just give you one the informations. All these, the whatever the code snippet I'm showing you, everything is mentioned in a document. Just to the reduce the webinar time frame, I just placed all these codes over here so that we can have the quick integrations walk through, and will not spend, not waste much time. So let me activate the watermark. Correct. So you guys can see this is the watermark text, and obviously, as I said earlier, you can customize the watermark. You can pass the color of the watermark and what is the alpha, because most of the times I have seen, the watermark is semi-transparent. So you can pass the alpha percentage as per your requirement. Obviously, uh, you can pass the size also. So let me run the applications again. Okay, you guys can see the watermark text. This is in the semi-transparent and is movable. Okay, so how actually watermark works? Saw you. So let's come to the next picture. Let's come to the subtitles. Okay, so for the subtitles, mostly you just have to create an object for the default subtitle track, and here just you have to pass the type of the subtitle and what is the title. Mostly the title is gonna show on the application interface. I mean, you the player interface through which you can choose the subtitle, and obviously the language code, and the subtitle URL. So if you have a single subtitle, then obviously you will go and create default single object of the default subtitle track. If you have multiple subtitle track, obviously you just have to create the multiple object of the default subtitle track. As you guys can see over here, I have created uh, three objects of the default subtitle track, and I'm passing the same subtitle to the video content, and at the end the video content is getting mapped with the player view. So now let me run my application so you guys can see how actually subtitles this looks like. Okay, I just rotated my device to it will help us the clear vision of the subtitle. So you guys can see the setting option on the top of the right corner. So when you click on that, you guys can see the French option is getting selected, and yes, you can see this is the subtitle we're displaying over here. And just let me give you one information that the subtitle is actually not for the Big Box Bunny video. I just added different subtitle just to give you an idea, high level idea how actually subtitle works and how it looks on the player screen. So maybe it won't match with the Big Bunny video, so just forget about that. So simply just see how actually subtitle feature works. Okay, so you guys can see now the subtitle selected in French. Now I'm changing the subtitle from French to Hindi. So you guys can see I'm pausing the video. So you guys can see the now the subtitle has changed from French to Hindi. Similarly, you can also change the same subtitle uh, from Hindi to English. I just changed to Hindi to English. Yes, you can see. Uh, this is the English text you are seeing on the bottom of the flare. So this is how the subtitle feature it works. Now I can give you some high level idea. Uh, as I already explained that we do support subtitle as a customization subtitles. So here you can pass obviously color of the subtitle, what is the background of the subtitle. Obviously you can pass the text size, and if you want to interested to change change the font of the subtitle, obviously you can do pass the fonts over here so that it will change the appearance of your subtitle. Now I'm coming to the next feature, and that is skip intro. Whatever just we discussed the how actually to work the skip intro. So you guys can see what we discussed. basically we just need two input parameters for the skip intro feature. Basically, one, we are providing the static position. That means here I have given the 10,000 milliseconds, and 10,000, that is the 10 second, and the end position is 60,000 milliseconds. That is your the ending position. It's a 60 second, or you can call it 1 minute. So here we are just taking the input parameter in milliseconds. So as for the standard, so we are taking the in milliseconds. Uh, let's run the applications. Then you guys can know mostly after the 10 second, you guys can see the skip intro pointer will appear, and once I click on the skip intro pointer button, it will take me to the 1 minute of that video. So let me run it. I'll show you my screen once the applications. Okay, you guys can see. Let's wait. Now it's 4 second, 6 second, 7 and 9 and 10. An exact 10 second, you guys can see the skip intro button. Correct. So once I click on the skip intro button, the simply you guys can see it took me to 1 minute. So this is the usage of the skip intro. So mostly what you can do, if you as explained before, if you have some credits or recaps, then you can simply skip that specific video time frame using the skip intro button. So this is how works the skip intro. And at the end, I'll show you one important thing, that is called the DRM. So mostly the DRM is the as I already explained, this is the most important feature for our player, that uh, you guys can play any video if you don't have the license URL. Without license URL, so DRM is actually nothing for you. This let me uncomment the things. You guys can see this is the DRM video URL, and this is impact as URL. And similarly, I have used a license URL. So the license most actually normally the license URL it takes it gives maximum 2 to 3 minutes as its expiry time. But just for the demo purpose, uh, I actually discussed with my team, and they just created the license URL, which is right now free for actually, I mean, is active for the 1 hour. Post that automatically it will expire. So let me play this video. So, and obviously to play the DRM video, simply there is nothing to do. Simply you just create a default object of the default video content of the DRM video, and you just have to pass the DRM URL and the license URL. And again, at the same time, you just have to pass that video content with the player view. That's it. Okay. uh, I'm going to run the application. So before run the applications, I just want to share one information, so that a DRM is mostly we use for the security purposes or to avoid the piracy. So when I share my screen, you guys can see the video is actually playing. Mostly only I can see the video is playing, but you can see the only audio, because as I'm share my screen, you can see the actual what video is playing. And at the same time also, if you will try to record that video using any kind of third party recorder inside which is installed in our mobile application, so obviously it will give you some black video recordings. That is the beauty of the DRM. Okay, so let me run the application.
Sapete che gli utenti giornalieri
uh,
di Netflix e Spotify sono in totale più di 400 milioni? Se stai pensando di creare un servizio di
I hope
streaming
guys
video o
see
audio,
all the player controls is visible to you, but video is you can't see the video. I'm just increasing my volume of my mobile so that you can see the audio, actually the video is playing.
come Netflix o Spotify, è il momento giusto. Presentiamo Muvi, il provider di piattaforma OTT più veloce al mondo, con il quale potrai costruire rapidamente il tuo sito web di streaming.
Okay, so this is how actually a DRM works, and this is the beauty of the DRM. And on the same times, I can give you so you know one feature over here. This is the audio. Let's play this
Come
video
Netflix.
first. And
Sapete che gli utenti
just give you one information. This audio is playing in Arabic language. You guys can see if I select this audio is playing in Arabic. And one more important thing, if any video contains multiple audios, so mostly you guys don't need to pass any extra informations to no, display the multiple audios. The player SDK has the capability to identify on its end if there is any multiple audio is there, so it will show you automatically. And similarly now is showing the multiple audio options. And similarly one thing you guys can see, the quality options also. So here you can see there are lots of qualities displaying over here, so that you can choose as per your appropriate internet connectivity. You can choose the specific resolutions to see the video in particular resolutions. It will help us to enjoy the seamless streaming experience. Okay, let me show you how actually multi audio works.
giornalieri di Netflix
This
e Spotify
language,
sono in
this audio is playing in Arabic. Okay,
totale
let
più
me
di
change to
400 milioni. Se stai pensando di creare un servizio di streaming video o audio,
نتفليكس أو سبوتيفاي
This-
هذا هو الوقت المناسب.
this audio
أقدم لكم
just has changed to Italian. You guys can see this audio is just changed to Italian. So now you can change as per your selections, Arabic to Italian, Italian to Arabic, anything. And one more thing, you can off any audio, because for a video content at least one audio is mandatory. Otherwise, it's unlike subtitle. For the subtitle, you guys can off the subtitle. It's not mandatory to have a subtitle uh, during the content playback. But for the audio, obviously there must be one audio is selected at the background when any video content is playing.
موفي.
Okay, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoy the complete integrations demo.
Thank you so much, Vibhu, for this amazing presentation. I'm sure our audience liked all the different things that we can do with the movie player SDK, especially the DRM part, which literally gives the black screen when the any sort of screen sharing or anything happens. So before we start the Q&A, I would request the audience to answer a quick poll that should be visible on your screens right now. And then we'll start, we'll wait for a few seconds and then we'll start the Q&A. Okay, so Vibhu, the first question is coming from Rohit. And Rohit wants to know that how easy is it to integrate this movie player SDK into their existing mobile applications?
Okay. Thank you, Rohit, asking this question. So, I hope it's very easy to integrate if you have already developed any kind of the applications before, because the movie player SDK is already providing large version supports, that is some API level from top API level 11 to, I'm sorry, API level 7 to right now. So any kind of applications, or if your application supports older version devices, in that case also the movie SDK will gonna help you. And also, yes, as I already explained in the demo, that it's very easy to integrate. And we have already covered up all these negative use cases. So mostly and the SDKs have gone on lots of the testing process, phases. So, and the same phases has already completed. And we have also checked multiple devices how actually it supports in multiple devices if we use our SDKs to any kind of the application. So obviously it's gonna very easy to integrate, as I already showed in the integrations walkthrough. And obviously it supports the wide level device range.
Okay, continuing. Thank you. I hope this answers your question, Rohit. Continuing on Rohit's question, we have another question that's coming from Eva. And it is that do we really need to hire a web developer to do all this integration, or does the movie team do it for the client?
Yes, that's a quite interesting question. So we support both the things. Mostly, if you already have a developer team, so you guys can easily do it. Or let's say ki, if you are very new to industry and maybe you have some expertise in different industry, and you are let's say ki in a marketing person, or maybe and you are in the field from the product management team and you just want to launch your own application. So in that case, so obviously on behalf of Muvi, we can do for you. So it's not a big task for us. So it's actually choice is from yours. If you want to do the integrations from your end, it's quite okay. Or if you do for you, that might be need some charge. That's a separate thing. We'll not discuss on that. But obviously, on a positive response, I'll say that yes, we can do it for you.
I hope this answers your question, Eva. Next question is coming from Steve, and Steve wants to know that to what extent can developers customize the look and feel of the player using this movie player SDK?
Correct. Okay. So mostly, on the integrations, to reduce the webinar time frame, I just gave the few customizations things related to subtitles and the multi videos. On the same times also, you guys have seen there are few pop-ups are coming, and the pop-ups has some text, has some icons. So let's say ki, you just want to change all these things, even if the player controls you guys saw in the demo that the play pause icon, even if the sigbar color or the player positions also you can change it. Or else if you do one thing, simply you just hide the player controls whatever the player SDK is providing by default. We are providing the override methods. You can build your own custom control and integrate with our SDK. So that is very interesting thing. Mostly what I have seen, most of the developers, they don't need to simply change all these things. They just work on the look and feel like in the UI fonts like this. But obviously we're just providing one more flexibility, that if you don't want to use our player controls, that means the UI or what is it currently appearing in the mobile screen, you can use the player SDK functionalities, but the UI will be completely yours. That provision is also here. So no doubt, anything I guess, most of the requirement will be covered within that. If beyond that, if you need any kind of customizations, we are open to add these all these customizations with our player SDK in coming releases. I hope I gave the proper answers to you.
We have another question coming from Steve for you, Bibu. He wants to know that how do these SDKs evolve to support new mobile operating systems or the updates that are quite often seen in the industry?
Yes, correct. Actually, nowadays, is a bit tricky. I mean, tricky in the sense, this is quite obvious, because if you talk about the mobile OS versions, yes, obviously, OS version is very frequent in the sense ki every year, mostly we're receiving one OS update, and within a year we're receiving multiple security patch or some UI updates. So in that specific cases, what actually happens, maybe your SDK will support 98% device, but there are 2% of device they don't support your SDKs. Maybe it support, but there are a few, some glitches is there, that is there for the 2% of devices. So mostly what we do when we receive some OS updates or any patch updates, we do a completely, SDK run in, using our different SDK, different testing tools. So mostly our dedicated Geo team is doing that. So from there, what we'll do, we just do a, rigorous testing within a wide level OS that is coming from, starting from what is the latest. So based on that, mostly we found what is the actually issue is happening, and what will the issue will happen to our users when they will upgrade their OS. So in that case, mostly we do this on, when the OS is on the beta phase. We don't wait when the actually wait uh, when the beta phase is coming to the production. Before that, we do all these things so that if anything comes to market and which is needed for the, to change the SDK development, we just do it and simply will release a new version to the everyone so that everyone can use that new SDK. Okay.
I hope this answers your question, Steve. Well, this was the last question for today, and this concludes our session for this day. And thank you, Bibu, again for being a part of this and helping our audience get a glance of how the movie player SDK works. As a small token of appreciation, we would like to give you out an informative brochure to view later on movie player SDK. And as Bibu said, you can get a free trial of Movie Player right from our website. You can just go on the website www.movie.com, fill up the form, and start experimenting yourself. Movie conducts these webinars every month, and we would request our audience to keep a lookout for all our social media channels and our website for a link and information about the next webinar that we are going to do. Till then, have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.